they tell you that the deck ABCDE is supported by 3 cables, OA, OC, and OD. What happens when you all don't do this kind of math properly? You know, every year you read about what bridges collapsing, then people dying from it. That's what will happen. Okay? Anyway. The deck is at an angle of x degrees to the horizon. Horizon means horizontal. So cable OA has a diameter of 64 millimeters. OC and OD have diameters of 44 millimeters. Information about cables using the bridge is shown below. So you identify what they need first, right? So you have your 44 mm cables. And you have your 64 mm cables. Only OA is 64 mm, the other 2 cables are 44 mm. But you should know that these are the 2 values that you need to look at. The gradient of the bridge deck is such that the ratio of the vertical distance to the horizontal distance is 1 to 10. Use the ratio to show that x equals to 5.7, correct to 1 dp. Now, horizontal, vertical, horizon, what does that mean? It's trigonometry. Anytime you see horizon means you're looking at a perpendicular. In other words, this part here is a perpendicular. That's why they tell you it's a horizon or horizontal. That means you're looking at this as a right angle. And what does it mean by the vertical and the horizontal distance is 1 to 10? That means vertical distance, you need to draw out the triangle. But of course, now you don't even understand what the question is asking, so you cannot even draw out the triangle. Basically, all they are telling you is this. You know that this is a horizontal, right? Or the wrong way. Actually, I just realized I drew the correct way the first time, but never mind. This is your x. Okay. The vertical distance is where? Here. So this is 1 unit. This is 10 units. That's what they're trying to tell you. So the free 1 mark you should get. So you have what? Opposite, adjacent, so tangent. So tangent x degrees is equal to opposite over adjacent. And therefore x is equal to tangent inverse 1 out of 10 to give you. This one, be very careful. Leave your answer in 5SF first. Then go and round off to 5.7. So this was what Xingmin was asking me just now. Why 5.7? Because 1 dp. So if you use 5.7, will they penalize you? Highly unlikely. But I will always put a 5SF value there. But I find it highly unlikely that they will penalize you if you use the 5.7 directly. Okay? Next, they ask you to show that OC must be 38.5 meters correct to 1 decimal place. And this is where students don't understand what the question is asking for anymore. Go and draw out the shape. You have OC. You have something like this. Correct? So there's a line OC over here. So there is something that goes like this. So which triangle are you looking at? You are looking at the triangle OBC. You are looking at the triangle OBC. That's the triangle that you're looking at. So that's the triangle that you ought to draw out. And then you notice that to the horizontal, there is an X. So you should draw it as such. So there is this, and then there is a horizontal. Wow. And this horizontal is your angle. x, which is equals to 5.7105. Okay. So this is your OC, which is what the length they want you to find. This is your question mark. This is B. Okay. So do you have the distance OB? You have the length of the mast OB. So they tell you OB is 35.0. So label it. What else do they give you? They tell you that your deck BC is 20.0. So a lot of you don't look at the table and you all don't read the information given in the table. Then of course cannot solve. And then you all don't have a habit of drawing out the triangles. So this is what you will have. You know that this is a perpendicular. So you can find the angle OBC. So angle OBC is equal to 90 degrees minus 5.7105 degrees, which will give you 84.2894 degrees. Correct? So now you have the angle OBC and you have the two lengths and one included angle. What rule you use? You just use cosine rule. Two lengths, one included angle is cosine rule. So by cosine rule, OC is equal to square root of 35.0 square A square plus B square minus 2 AB cosine C. And then you just press your calculator. It will give you 38.545 in 5SF, which will be 38.5 meters 3SF. Shown. That's it. It's a basic application of your cosine rule. But many students would not get here because never draw out the diagram, so you don't understand what the question is trying to tell you. And then number two, never refer to the table of values given to you. OB and BC are both values that are given in the table here. You are supposed to go and realize that it's given and therefore go and draw out the triangle and find it. All right. So the only difficult part actually is part C. The bridge engineer has specified a maximum of 2.1 tons for the total mass of the three cables. 1 ton is equal to 1000 kg. Do the cables meet the engineer's specification? So what do we need to find next? We already found OB. The third cable is OD. They lie on the same horizontal. So you get a triangle OBC, and then OCD like that. So you can go and draw it out. So I'm just going to copy my diagram from the top. And then all I'm going to do here is to extend the line BC to the, so this is BC by extending it all the way to BD. So that's your point D. And I've already found the length OC as well. Okay. How do you find whether the cables meet the specification? So you need to find the unit mass. What's the unit mass of the cable? The unit mass of the cable is given. So per meter, it is 10.8 kg. Per meter, this is 23.2 kg. So only OA is the heavy one, OC and OD are both the lighter ones. Obviously, to find the mass, you need to find the length because the length is per unit. The mass is per unit length. You already found OC, so you need to just go on to find. Do we already have OA? We don't have OA. We don't have OA and we don't have OD, correct? No, we do have the length of OA. OA is given as 48.3 meters, so you don't need to find OA. OA is already given. So you only need to find OD, which you don't have. So from here, how to find OD? Again, you have the angle. What is BD? Are you given BD? You are given BC and CD, which means BD is equal to BC plus CD to give you 40. So your length BD is equal to BC plus CD, which is given as 20 plus 20 to give you 40. That is given. This part here is 20 also. You are using back the same angle and you are using cosine rule once again. So by cosine rule, OD is equal to square root of A square plus B square minus 2AB cosine, same angle, 84.2894. And it will give you about 50.462 in 5SF. Okay? So this is what we know. We have found OD, we have found OC, we have OA given directly. You have the unit mass. So unit mass of OA is equal to OA is 23.2 per meter. 23.2 kg per meter. So mass of OA is equal to 23.2 kg times the distance of OA. And what is the distance of OA? Distance of OA is 48.3 given in the table. That's why you all must know how to read the tables and understand what information is given in the tables. They don't give you the information for fun. Okay, so you multiply this out. 23.2 times 48.3, you get 1120.56 kg. We leave everything in kg first. Okay, unit mass of OC and OD is the lighter one, 10.8 kg per meter. So you can actually just combine the distance because they have the same unit mass. So mass of OC plus OD is equal to 10.8 kg times, what's your total distance? 50.462 plus 38.545, which will give you 961.2756 kg. Total mass of cables equal to 1120.56 plus 961.2756, which will give you 2081.8356 kg, which is approximately 2.082 tons. Since 2.082 tons less than 2.1 tons, the cables meet the engineer's specifications. Done. If you realize this question is just apply cosine rule twice. Trigo, then cosine rule, cosine rule. The rest of the question is really testing whether you understand how to read this thing called a table that by right you learn in primary school. It's a primary school skill. Then it's a skill that you learn in science, you learn in math, you learn in geography. You need to make use of the table. You need to read and understand and digest information. There's a lot of information being provided. Sieve out what is relevant. That's why the first thing I did was to highlight the relevant information. There is a lot of information given the table that I just ignored. Why? Not needed what? So highlight the information that you're using. And then make sure you draw out diagrams. A lot of you do trigo questions, you don't like to draw your diagram for what? You get extra marks for having a clean paper. No, trigo questions must draw out the diagrams to visualize the question. Okay? Clearly for a question like that, the answer has, in this case, the answer meets the specification. But even if you don't get to that stage, if you find the different lengths of different cables, at least you get some marks. I'm very curious what the mark allocation here for the 6 marks is. But it's just trigo. Then the rest of it is actually just a bit of logical understanding. All right.